Thank you. Thank you for all being here on this very special occasion. I'm Charles Garrett, President of the Society for American Music, and over the next hour, we'll be celebrating our newest honorary member, Terri Lyne Carrington, musician, composer, producer, collaborator, teacher, whose achievements from a very early age to the present have resonated widely within American musical culture and beyond. We're very grateful that she could be with us tonight, considering how she balances life as a professor at the Berklee College of Music with the demanding performance schedule around the globe, which includes the flight later tonight that will take her to Zurich. Professor Carrington's talent for improvisation is especially renowned, and tonight's ceremony will include some room for improvisation, but I will start by describing how our celebration is structured. To begin, Larry Simpson, the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost of the Berklee College of Music, will introduce Professor Carrington, who will then offer some of her own remarks and reflections. Next will be a performance by a jazz quartet of Berklee students, Edmar Cologne, Sung-Ha Lee, Jairus Yokley, and Andrew Marzado. And following their performance, we will present the official citation of honorary membership. We invite you to join us after the ceremony for a reception just outside, highlighted by more music by our jazz quartet. At this time, I'd like to introduce Larry Simpson, the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost of the Berklee College of Music. In addition to all of Provost Simpson's work overseeing the academic initiatives at the college as part of a distinguished career in administration, I want to call special attention to his jazz-related contributions. Not only has he been a freelance writer and photographer for Downbeat and Jazz Times magazines, but he's also closely involved with the growth of the arts and cultural programs, including Jazz Fest Cleveland, during his tenure as president and chief academic officer at Cuyahoga Community College. We're very pleased that he could join us tonight, and I invite you to help me welcome Provost Larry Simpson.
I want to thank Dr. Garrett for that kind introduction. And so we're going to have to improvise a bit because he had played on a couple of things I was going to say about Terri Lyne. So I will make some adjustments. First of all, I'm honored to be with you this evening to be able to introduce Terri Lyne to you formally. The Society has a fabulous list of honorary members, and by conveying this membership on Terri Lyne, the lights of the Society are shining even more brightly because she is being installed as an honorary member. I have known Terri Lyne for more than a decade. Now, of course, I knew of her before I knew her. In fact, I'm just now seeing where you are, okay? Because her reputation certainly preceded her. And as you had heard, she began her musical journey at quite young. She got her first drum set at the age of 7, and that drum set belonged to her grandfather. She is a prodigy. She is a musical prodigy, but I like to think she's come by that somewhat honestly because her parents, whom are both here, her father, Sonny Carrington, look at him, he has a jazz look about him. There's a fantastic saxophone player in the area, and her mom, where's Mom? I saw her, oh, there's Mom, plays piano. And so she starts out on her grandfather's drum set. She comes from a musical family, and she had a young life that many, many musicians would envy. Wouldn't it be great to have your professional debut at the age of 10 with Clark Terry? To receive a full scholarship to Berklee at the age of 11? She still remains today the youngest recipient of the honorary doctorate degree from Berklee. She earned that a number of years ago. as a musician, from the time she moved to New York City, she has played with practically every great musician in jazz. She propelled the Arsenio Hall Show Band in LA for a while and did the same for Quincy Jones's program, TV show, Vibe. Terri Lyne has won, not one, not two, but 3 Grammy Awards. Most never win one. She has won 3. The first was in 2011 for the Mosaic Project, and she won that for Best Jazz Vocal Recording of that year. The second Grammy she won 2 years later was for the recording Money Jungle, Provocative in Blue, and it was a recreation and extension of that classic Ellington, Mingus, and Max Roach recording of 50 years prior to that. And that category was for the best jazz instrumental recording. Terri Lyne is used to a lot of firsts, if you can believe it. In the year 2013, she was the first woman to ever win a Grammy in that category. It says quite a lot about her. The third Grammy she won was for producing Diane Reeves's Beautiful Life CD, and what a marvelous recording that is. And for me, it was fun in 2014 to be at the Grammys. To my left was Terri Lyne, to my right was Diane Reeves. And when they announced Diane and Terri Lyne as the winners, they both jumped up, they were all excited, and I was thrilled. I mean, how often does that happen? You're at the Grammys, you're sitting with 2 of the winners, and they jump up and they left me. They left me to go do press. They did not invite me to do the press. But it got better, because after they won their Grammys, the 3 of us went out later that evening and had a fantastic dinner at a wonderful Brazilian restaurant in LA. So it goes without saying that Terri is one of the finest musicians in the world. But after being on the road for 22 years, she felt it was time to slow down and to return to Boston. She said, "I played with every major figure in jazz, Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, Jack DeJohnette, who remains a mentor, and many, many more." And what she said was, what's left to do? I mean, imagine that. You've played with all these people. What's left to do? I see you, Terri. I'm going to tell you what's left to do. And it is, so she returned to Boston. And she began teaching, because what she wanted to do was nurture the next generations of fantastic musicians, which is what she has been doing since she returned. But the funny thing is, she wanted to slow down. This is the hardest working woman I know. She has not slowed down, just not at all. You heard Charles say she's on a flight to Zurich tonight. What he didn't tell you, she just returned like 2 days ago from Paris in Luxembourg. So she's always on the go. So she is committed to the craft, she's committed to her students, she's committed to being a true artist, and it comes through in everything that she does. But for all of her musical achievements, she is, for me, still an even finer human being. I love being able to say that Terri Lyne Carrington is a friend. She is the most honest and accurate musician that I know in assessing other musicians. She can't help it. It's just who she is. So when I want to know the truth about anybody, I know who to ask. I ask Terri Lyne, what do you think? She's always listening. Even when you think she's not listening, if she hears something that she doesn't think is right, she just viscerally moves. She just moves. It's just who she is. So I go to Terri for the truth about musicians. She's also committed to family, and I have embarrassed her mom and dad already. She has a wonderful son, Dorian, that she adores. And because she's into family, she's increased my own family. She found me a cousin. Her name just happens to be Valerie Simpson of Ashford and Simpson fame. So they came to my house one night, and we were watching, so Terri called, she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm about to watch the Floyd Mayweather fight." And Valerie was a big fight fan, so she said, "We're coming over." So they came over, and Terri Lyne wrapped up in a blanket, and my new cousin Valerie and I were acting silly over this fight that was going on. But not only did she find me a cousin, she found my twin sister. Who knew that I had a twin sister in the world? So Terri told me about, you have a sister, a twin. You all look alike, you sound alike, you act alike. So I said, I have to go meet this person. So off to Chicago I go. And I meet my twin sister, and she could not have been more correct. And the thing that freaked us both out, our birthdays are exactly the same day. It was amazing. So, Terri Lyne Carrington, outstanding musician, outstanding creative person. You heard Charles say she's a producer, she's a drummer, she does it all. She is doing things with women in music that have never been done before. She is blazing a trail with her artistry and her passion and her commitment. And so, as I said at the top, I say it right now, I am totally thrilled to introduce to you my friend and colleague, Terri Lyne Carrington.
Thank you. I feel like I was roasted. That was kind of like a roast, right? I didn't know he was going to go quite that deep. Wow. So this is such an honor. I was going to just speak without notes, but I brought them because Herbie Hancock told me once, the first time I was nominated for a Grammy, he said, make sure you write down your notes, what you want to say, because trust me, you will forget. And he said he learned that from actors that were receiving Academy Awards or being nominated. They all had notes. And later learned, the actors, they don't have good memories, most of them anyway. So lots of information. So I brought some notes just because I wanted to, say some things that I was thinking about today. And I didn't want to just get up here and even though I am a big improviser, I'm a big, I teach that and it's part of who I am. So often I do not prepare because I actually like that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen. But even though I'm that way, I decided to write some notes. So excuse me for reading. I see my family here and friends, my parents, as Larry mentioned, and colleagues and students of mine, present and former, that are going to play. And it makes me think today about connection, purpose, inspiration, and gratitude. So it's a real honor to receive an honorary membership to this very important and inspiring organization. In fact, last night, I was online checking out the Journal of the Society for American Music and saw an entry by James McNally, who I don't know. Maybe some of you know this person. Yes? My student. Okay. All right. Anyway, his entry was titled Azalea Banks 212, Black Female Identity and the White Gaze in Contemporary Hip Hop. And that really caught my attention. I had no idea who Azalea Banks was. So I spent the next couple of hours on a YouTube odyssey educating myself on this woman and what she represents in today's young black feminist hip-hop culture, which is, I mean, I love hip-hop. I love all music. I think there's only two kinds, good and bad. So I love hip-hop as much as maybe the next person. Not all the next people, but some of the next people. But I had never heard of her. So once I checked her out for really a couple of hours, and I was emailing Esperanza Spalding and Diane Reeves and asking them if they had ever heard of her. And I felt like I was living under a rock, because I didn't know who she was. And so I really planned to utilize my membership with this organization. And the list of past honorary members is extremely distinguished, and I feel quite privileged to be added to this list. I'd like to mention a couple of the previous honorees that I've had a strong connection with: Pharoah Saunders, Oscar Peterson, and Max Roach. I played a lot with Pharoah Saunders in the 80s when I moved to New York, and I was cutting my teeth as a young, new jazz drummer on the scene. So he was an important part of my development. And Oscar Peterson, as Larry mentioned, I received a scholarship to Berkeley when I was 11. And that was because I sat in with Oscar Peterson at the Heinz Auditorium, which is not too far from here. And it was funny because they were just packing up. And I went up to him and said hello. I was backstage. My dad had a way of getting backstage all the time, so that was a blessing. And so he walked off, and somebody introduced me, and I said, I played 2 sets with Clark Terry last night, and I was 11, and he was sweating. I remember that. He was really sweating. And he said, what? He said, well, you have to play with me. I need to hear you. And it was my good fortune that Lawrence and Alma Burke were sitting in the front. So because the concert had just finished, they had barely gotten out of their seats. They hadn't walked out yet. And people heard him start to play again, and they turned around. And I was playing drums, and so that's when I got my scholarship to Berkeley. Lawrence and Alma Burke were the founders of the college. So many thanks to Oscar Peterson. And Max Roach, who is the father, of bebop drumming, really, the father of the drum set to a lot of us. And he was someone that was a great supporter. I used to sit in with him when he came through Boston. I went to his house and spent some time with him there. Saw many things, because most artists have a side that you don't know about. And so Max was... I saw him do some interesting things I shouldn't go into, but it just, he had a temper. Let me just leave it at that. He had a temper. So, it was great to see how somebody, so passionate, you can understand, I guess, how a person that passionate can put that energy into their instrument. And, we're all flawed human beings as far as I can see. But anyway, he was a great supporter, and I'll never forget all the things he tried to do for me. He tried to give me a record deal on Blue Note. It never happened, but the fact that he was really going to bat for me was a great thing. And so it was also my honor to be able to pay tribute to him with my CD that Larry mentioned, Money Jungle, Provocative and Blue, because that featured Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, and Max Roach. So my connection feels strong with the Society's previous honorees and inductees. I've had many invaluable or valuable supporters and role models throughout my life, though not many of them were women. But there were a lot of great artists that believed in me and showed me something extremely important, which Herbie Hancock talks about all the time, and that's possibilities. Matter of fact, he did a CD called Possibilities. So when I think about inspiration, I know for sure that it's a revolving door. And as I try to inspire others, whether teaching at Berkeley or performing across the globe, I'm conscious of inspiration, the inspiration I've received from people that have come before me, from peers, and from the students of music that I teach, as I, too, am still a student of music. That never changes, for sure. I believe success comes from the combination of a certain drive in your spirit that cannot easily be squelched, along with talent, of course, and the support or help from others that can show you what is possible. And just seeing these possibilities allows you to dream past them. And the more I work with some young people, I'm on the board of the woman that he was speaking about in Chicago that reminded me so much of Larry, and they're born on the same day. I'm on the board of her organization, and she does a lot of work with the youth in Chicago. And it saddens me to know that there are many people that have a deep desire and have talent, but can't see the possibilities because they may not have access to the kind of nurturing and mentoring that it generally takes for a young person to develop their full potential. So because I have this in abundance, I understand that part of my purpose is to pass on what I can and encourage others as much as I can along the way during my own artistic journey. And I often speak to my students about purpose, our role as artists, and the importance of others identifying with us or identifying with what we do. With so much going on in the world and so many choices, how do we make the listener care about what we're doing? And this only happens to me when they can identify with us. And as I get older, I recognize more and more people identifying with what it is that I do, which inspires me to always do my best. And that's one of the 4 agreements. I'm sure most of you know that book. But I often think about that. Don't take anything personally. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. I love all of the 4 agreements, but that one really speaks to me because I realize that that's part of my job, part of my work ethic, and a big part of my success. So I'd like to, in closing, acknowledge 3 musical mentors of mine. One is my dad, who's here, and some of the things that, he's taught me so much, but one thing that stuck with me is he said, you can't run away from who you are. And that speaks to me about being honest, both musically and personally, on all levels. And then Jack DeJohnette, who Larry mentioned is a mentor of mine, he showed me in my formative years, my late teens when I started hanging out with him, that there were other ideas that I had never thought about, countless possibilities in life and in music, if you're open. And he brought the word multi-directional to my vocabulary, and that's something that I constantly try to think about, being multi-directional. And Wayne Shorter, who's a musical and spiritual mentor, he taught me so much over the years. One thing being that music is only a drop in the ocean of life. And that really helped me because I think I was putting far too much weight on a performance or just music in general. So I thank him for that. But most recently, he said, or more recently, he said, some people walk up to the door and some people step through it. So I'd like to thank all the people, which are many, that have helped give me the confidence and the courage to walk through the door and not just step up to it. Because I wouldn't be here today, if these people hadn't done that, if I wasn't able to step through the doors that were in front of me. So again, thank you for this great honor, and I look forward to hearing Ed Marr and Andrew and Sungha and Jairus play some compositions. A couple of them I think are mine, so I'll be sitting here crossing my fingers. They would pick one of the harder ones. But thanks very much for your time and for this honor. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. Congratulations to Terri on making honors. We're equally honored to be here performing for all of you. And we're going to perform a piece by Terri and Carrington entitled Grassroots from her record, Money Jungle, Provocative and Blue. And we cannot cross our fingers because we need to play, right? So, but it's, Jerry Jokley on the drums. Sungha Lee from Korea on the bass. From Toronto, Andrew Marsoto on the guitar. Jared is from St. Louis, I need to say that. And I'm from Puerto Rico. My name is Edmar, and thank you so much. We're going to continue play another piece, and this time an arrangement by Miss Carrington of Duke Ellington composition entitled Come Sunday. Come Sunday.
So thank you again to Edmar, Suha, Jairus, and Andrew. Thank you so much. Perhaps the best thing to mention about their performance is that they're going to be playing again very soon, in a few minutes. All right. It's time for the official presentation of the Honorary Member Award. We're extremely pleased to be able to honor Terri Lyne Carrington in the company of her family, friends, colleagues, students, society members, and musical admirers. Thank you all for being here and helping to make this a special occasion. I'd like especially to thank Provost Simpson for making the time to be here, and also to thank the president of Berkeley College, Roger Brown, for being here tonight. So I'd like to invite Terri Lyne Carrington up to the front. So the Society for American Music is pleased to honor Terri Lyne Carrington as our newest honorary member. As the citation states, we present this award, quote, in recognition of your remarkable contributions to American musical culture as a drummer, composer, producer, musical collaborator, and teacher, balancing global artistry while championing local music making. Let's congratulate Terri Lyne Carrington. Take a picture of your hand. So thank you all for being here. I encourage you to congratulate Professor Carrington in person and to join us for the reception. The band is going to play for a while. The reception is just out in the hall, and thank you just so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Congratulations.